Welcome to episode 1 of Your Family Secret, where I tell your family secrets so you don't have to. Our first family secret starts with a girl we're going to call Sophia. Sophia is pregnant with her first child, and like most first-time moms, she starts wondering what her baby's going to look like. So one day she asks her husband, "Where are your baby pictures? I want to see what you look like as a baby." And this man is basically like, "¿Qué sé yo, mujer?" He has absolutely no idea where they are. At first, Sophia is like, "Okay, weirdo, whatever." But she keeps thinking about those damn pictures. So eventually she decides, you know what, I'm going to figure this out on my own. So she goes to her husband's father and she decides to ask him if he knows what happened to the baby pictures. Sara has them. Sara is the father's niece and the husband's cousin. Remember that because it's important for the rest of the story. Apparently, Sara has everything. His baby pictures, his childhood videos, even the family Bible. So Sophia asks if she can see them. Basically tells her no. Nobody gets to see anything unless Sara decides they can. Now Sophia is confused as hell because this woman went looking for some damn baby pictures and somehow ended up in the middle of a family mystery. But eventually she lets it go. So now fast forward a couple of years until DNA testing becomes a thing, and Sophia decides to start digging into her husband's family tree. And remember Sara? Well, Sara shows up, except the DNA says Sara is biologically related to Sophia's husband in a way that makes absolutely no fucking sense. And that's when Sophia realizes the missing baby pictures were never the family secret. Sara was. Sara is his biological mom, but remember, Sophia had always been told that Sara was her husband's father's niece. Well, that wasn't true either. Sara wasn't his niece. Sara was his stepdaughter. The man Sophia's husband grew up calling dad is his biological father, but his biological mother is his father's stepdaughter, Sara. Shit. I know. And according to the submission, Sophia's husband wasn't even the first child they had together. Oigan eso. They already had 2 children before him. Now, the person who submitted this story made it clear that she doesn't know the circumstances surrounding the relationship, so we're not going to speculate. What we do know is that when Sara became pregnant with Sophia's husband, they needed a way to hide who his parents really were. So she married her high school boyfriend and tried to pass the baby off as his. Sara's husband eventually found out the truth, and when he wanted to tell the child who his biological father really was, Sara divorced his ass and cut him off. At one point, she was apparently even considering putting the baby up for adoption, but instead, Sara's stepfather, the baby's biological dad, and his wife decided they would raise him themselves. So let's make sure we're all together because I know this one is a little complicated. Sophia's husband was raised by his biological father and his biological father's wife, while his biological mom was presented to him as another relative, and they never told him. They even moved somewhere nobody knew them, and the secret stayed buried for years until Sophia started messing around with the DNA. Sophia and her daughter tested first, and eventually she convinced her husband to test too, even though the man thought the whole thing was a scam. That sounds familiar. And when those results came back, the family tree was not family treeing. Relatives were showing up in relationships that didn't make sense. So Sophia finally went back to her husband's father and asked him point blank, "Mi hermano, is my husband your son with Sara?" And after all these years, he said yes. And suddenly those baby pictures from part 1 made perfect sense. Why did Sara have his baby pictures, his childhood videos, even the family Bible? Because they weren't some random relative's memories. They were her sons. Here's the part of the story that really gets me. When Sophia's husband learned the truth, he was pissed off at Sophia because in his mind, if she just left it alone, he would have never known. So after decades of keeping the secret buried, the whole thing blew up because a pregnant woman asked her husband one innocent question: "Where are your baby pictures?" That's it for this story. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao, bacalao.